Against the Ropes podcast.
Contra las cuerdas.
Against the Ropes podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. AtR podcast. Gio Garcia here alongside Christian Mosqueda. Biggest week in boxing thus far. Turkey Al-Sheikh delivers once again. We have a lot to discuss. It's going to be a big weekend and a big show today.
No, you said it best, Gio. Biggest week in boxing. If you're a boxing fan, this is the one, man. This is the one that when it was made, we couldn't believe it. We thought it was a dream. We thought there's no way that this got made, and we're here, man. I'm excited. You know what, Gio? We wouldn't go anywhere for just anybody, but this is a big one, and we got to support.
Yeah, so this is the card that we're talking about here. Obviously, Arthur Beterbiev, Dmitry Bivol, the rematch, and a ton of action also on the undercard. We'll let all the boxing fans trickle in. Chris, let's get started real quick on Keyshawn Davis. I don't want to spend too much time, but we do have a new champion at 135. Keyshawn Davis stopped Denis Berinchyk. You know, we predicted a decision win by Davis, and let me pull those up. I actually updated our predictions so you guys can see them there. Let me pull it to the kind of that middle of the screen area. We predicted a Keyshawn Davis decision win. He actually ended up getting the stoppage. Give us your thoughts on that, Chris. As I said, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but let's let all the boxing fans trickle in. We'll get to the main event in a little bit. That main event being that mega card February 22nd, this Saturday. But Keyshawn Davis.
Let me just start by saying, Gio, we're gonna do our predictions in a little while, and I'm nervous for that one. This one's gonna be tough, and this one's gonna divide us, and it's gonna definitely change that chart by next week. But yeah, Keyshawn Davis, I think we were in acknowledgement that he had the skills, he had the athleticism to walk away with that win. We didn't expect him to do what he did with the knockout stoppage. We know that Berinchyk is a tough guy. Obviously Eastern European, very disciplined, greedy, and just tough. And I didn't expect that. So again, it shows that Keyshawn Davis, I think this is his coming out party in a sense. We when you think of a fighter that's blue chip, you flirt with the potential, you flirt with the what can happen. Sometimes they have a ceiling and they don't get past it. But this one was one that kind of, told the naysayers that Keyshawn Davis is a game player in that division. So I'm excited to see what he has, on the upside to go in the next year and a half.
Yeah, to me, Dennis Berinchik quit, Chris. Anytime you get up right after this 10-second count, to me, you quit. You know, it was a vicious body shot. Berinchik went down a couple times in this fight, but let's call it what it is. He quit. He got up right after the 10-second count, called it a day. I believe it was the fourth or fifth. It was early. Let me pull that up for you guys. But yeah, I wasn't expecting a knockout. I expected Berinchik to make it a little more competitive, but yeah, he ends up getting stopped, and yeah, we'll see if we see Berinchik again after that disappointing loss. Obviously, you know, he kind of got on the map by defeating Emmanuel Navarrete for that vacant belt at 135. Now loses it round 4. It was round 4. Uh, this loss against Keyshawn Davis, who's now 13-0, 9 KOs. Not necessarily known as a puncher, but he does get the stoppage here. 25 years old for Keyshawn Davis. He's now a champion at 35. We know most of those guys aren't fighting each other, Chris. They're all kind of avoiding each other. So I wouldn't expect Davis to change any of that. You know, Lomachenko's still a champion at 35. I believe Gervonta now has a real belt at 35. I'll check the list of champions here. But yeah, Keyshawn now inserts his name and that. And yeah, I'm a little disappointed by Berinchik quitting. Let's just call it what it is. I thought after the build-up, it was going to be a better fight.
Yeah, obviously after that fight that he had with Navarrete, you expect Berinchik to not give away his belt that easily. You know, when I've always said it, if somebody finishes an opponent in under 5 rounds, that means they were never in their league. To me, like I expected this fight to go the distance. I expected it to go in the championship rounds. If one was gonna, you know, separate themselves, it was gonna be in those rounds. The fact that it didn't go that way, and the fact that the way you said it, Joe, he quit. Of course, we know those body shots are the ones that make you double think things. We understand that. We're not fighters. We've heard that narrative, and we know that those are the ones that, you know, kind of split you away from your senses, and you're like, let me just find a way out here. But you're a champion. This is a legacy, you know, defining kind of moment in your career. And I don't think we would knock him, Gio, if it went into the championship rounds. We're like, hey, you know, he's a champ. He went out on the shield in the later rounds, but to go out that early and to go in that fashion, Gio, it's going to hurt his stock. And again, big ups to Keyshawn Davis. He did what he needed to do, made believers out of many of us, showed that, you know, there's levels in that upper echelon. But yeah, man, it's a tough look for Berinchik, and he's going to have to bounce back. And I don't see it happening with the way that he looked in this fight, man. He's going to have to change things up.
Berinchik looked terrible, old, slow, and very weak. Still not sold on Keyshawn. He did what he was supposed to. Yeah, I agree. I'm not too sold on him. Obviously, Top Rank has to sell him, right? ESPN has to tell you that he's the next star. But, you know, yeah, biggest test of his career. He passed it. Before that, he hadn't really done much. Got over this test, and we'll see. Look, the list of champions, Vasily Lomachenko, Gervonta Davis, and Shakur Stevenson. And Cepeda has one of those junior belts. So, yeah, none of these guys have really gotten there with each other. Obviously, Lomachenko has been inactive, flirting with retirement. They're saying the Murataya fight is supposed to be the mandatory for Lomachenko next. We'll see if that happens, but we know how Gervonta gets down. He doesn't typically fight any of the top guys, or he hasn't yet in really any division. Shakur Stevenson, kind of the same. We'll be talking about Shakur later on today. He had another fight fall through, and we'll see what Keyshawn can do. But yeah, I don't really, like I said, I don't see any of these guys getting it on with each other. Even with Turkey requesting that Gervonta Davis versus Shakur Stevenson fight, those guys seem uninterested. So we'll see what happens there at 135. Like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on this. We still have that February 22nd action to get to. I do also want to highlight Xander Zayas, who looked good on that undercard as well. Xander Zayas, let's go ahead and let me pull that up for you guys. Here it is. Let's go to the event. Xander, who improves to 21-0 now. He was fighting another undefeated fighter. As we said last week, though, a little unproven. A lot of fights overseas. At the end of the day, it wasn't much of a competitive fight for Xander. 21-0 now, 13 KOs. He did get the stoppage there at the end, 9th round. And he put a beating on Slawa Spomer, who, again, I'm not sure we'll see him again. He's from Germany. Came out here, took a beating. Zayas looked good. And I don't know if you heard, but Virgil responded to Xander. I don't know if you saw that video, Chris.
I haven't seen that one yet. What did he say?
Yeah, so as you guys remember last week, we were talking a little bit about Sayas' comments on Virgil Ortiz. He said Virgil took the easier route by choosing to fight Israel Madrimov. Kind of a statement that didn't make much sense, but Virgil Ortiz essentially said, because they had agreed on a fight supposedly, Virgil said they gave me 3 names. Zayas was one of them. I said I'd fight any of them. And then they told me, never mind, do you want to fight Madrimov? And she said, yeah, I'm down to fight Madrimov. So he said, yeah, no one's ducking anyone. And then they asked him if he'd get it on with Zayas. He said, yes, I'll fight anyone. So, but yeah, kind of smart by Zayas by kind of asserting his name there with some of the top guys at 154. I don't think he's there yet, but as I said, kind of smart to attach his name to a popular name like Virgil Ortiz Jr.
I feel like he's playing the Floyd Schofield card here, Gio, a little bit. I mean, he's not signing on for no fight and making us excited and all that. We'll get into that a little bit later, but I don't know. I mean, I think you have to choose your words. I think there's ways to insert your name with these names, but be about it. Be serious about it. Don't just say that you're going to fight and then things get murky, things get gray, and then the contracts don't come through or something happened and the fight never gets made. I like the confidence, Gio. Again, he's a good fighter. He's got a lot of upside, entertaining, humble, disciplined. He's got a country behind him. But I think I don't know, man. I like it and I don't like it, if that makes sense, Gio.
Yeah, well, he got the victory. He looked good on the undercard. Abdullah Mason also looked good on the undercard. Jared Anderson got back on the winning column, Chris. He won a unanimous decision. His opponent, you see it there, 12-3. He went all 10 rounds, Jared Anderson, in his comeback after that big loss against Bacoli. Nico Ali Walsh lost the split decision. I actually missed that one. I didn't get to see it. But you see here, Abdullah Mason knocked out Manuel Jaimes, who the previous fight had lost to Rolando Romero. I believe that was undercard on Canelo's card against Berlanga. And Abdullah Mason stops him. That's a good look. Romero went to a decision against Jaimes, and Mason stopped him. So, yeah, I think Mason is looking good. Of course, prospect of the year for us, 2023. And he's looking good, man. He's developing well, continuing to get these knockouts. He was even in one of the fights of the year last year. Got dropped a couple times, hurt a couple times, but ended up with a stoppage in that one, and continues to improve. So that was a good card on a Friday, Valentine's Day, February 14. That fight headlined by Keyshawn Davis. Good all-around card by Top Rank.
Yeah, and again, Gio, these little obviously when we think of these names, these up and comers, yeah, they're supposed to do what they need to do. That's understandable. That's job number one. But it's how they look. We mentioned Xander's eyes. He looked good. There was obviously previous fights where that he's gonna win, but it doesn't convince you to the level that we're used to seeing. So good look for Xander. Good comeback back for Jared Anderson. We always wonder how fighters bounce back from knockout defeats like that. Even though they're supposed to fight the guy and beat him soundly, one more loss would have been detrimental to his career. So good little bounce back for Jared Anderson, and surprising defeat by Nico Ali Walsh. Hopefully he bounces back. He's got the name, but he's always going to have that, that comparison and people saying that you're not good enough to follow in those footsteps. But hopefully he bounces back, man. Again, he's a good dude, and hopefully he gets more opportunities and he's able to bounce back from that defeat.
Yeah, we spent too much time on this, Chris. So let's go ahead and move on to the main event. This Saturday, this is what's going down. This is the one we've been waiting for. The Zone pay-per-view Riyadh season. I haven't even checked the price. I'll go ahead and check the price right now. I know Turkey had been saying that he was trying to keep those prices down. But before we get to that, let's go into what are we going to have exactly on that card. You know, they're saying best card of all time. Not sure I agree with that, but look, on paper is looking really good. Let's see if these guys deliver. Zile Zong against Ajit Kabayel. Heavyweight bout. Big fight, literally. Joshua Buatsi against Callum Smith. Virgil Ortiz Jr. against Israel Madrimov. Carlos Adames versus Hamza Shiraz. Shakur Stevenson versus, have they updated it? Yes, Josh Padley. Never heard of him, but hey, he's still on for Shakur, which I'm not mad at because he already had a fight fall through, so at least he's going to get paid in this one. But let's be honest, if Shakur wasn't on the card, would anyone care? Anyone in the comment section, if he's on there or isn't on there, I don't think anybody will care, let's be honest. But we'll have time to discuss that fight. And of course, Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker, co-headliner. And the main event, Artur Beterbiev, Dmitry Bivol, undisputed rematch between the two light heavyweights of probably the last 15, 20 years. This is a great fight, man. This has that Canelo Triple G type of fight written all over it. And Turkey's already saying there's going to be a third fight if Bivol wins. I don't know if he winked after that or not, but something to think about. Chris, let's go ahead and start with heavyweight action. You know what? No, let's start with Shakur, man. Let's get Shakur out of the way. Not gonna lie, let's get it out of the way. What do you think?
Oh, before we give our very easy prediction, let me just say, I feel like Shakur Stevenson, without even throwing a punch, I feel like his stock has risen just because of all the shenanigans that his opponent, has done. Again, I get it. No disrespect to Floyd Schofield. Health issues are health issues, and we hope he gets better, feels better, and bounces back. But man, again, this has been a S show to say the least. But yeah, man, Shakur Stevenson, easy TKO. I'm gonna say TKO. Obviously, he's not known for flat out power, but he's levels above this guy who, shout out to him for filling in and saving that fight for Shakur. But TKO, easy night for Stevenson.
Are we even including this in our predictions, Chris?
I feel like it's not fair, man. I feel like we shouldn't, but I mean, he is part of this card, Gio. Let's just leave it at that. He's part of this card, and it's going to be a little tricky, Gio. Let's be real. It's going to be this card is 50-50, 60-40 kind of. I think I need an easy
freebie. A freebie. You need a freebie. Kyle Hayden says, "Hey, it helps my parlay, so why not? Let's throw it in there, man." Look, this is what we
keeping it.
This is what we have so far for this year. We had the Inoue fight against Yi Jun Kim, Isaac Cruz fight against Angel Fierro, Brandon Figueroa against Stephen Fulton, the David Benavides versus David Morrell fight, Jack Catterall versus Arnold Barboza, and Berinchik versus Davis. And that's what we have so far. We have 1L. We took 1L. Where was it? Brandon Figueroa. We both thought he'd beat Fulton. Disappointed us, man. Broke our hearts, the heartbreaker. But other than that, we have a pretty good record. We're doing really well right now.
Yeah, no, again, we got the same. I think we got the same record. You got a little bit more knockout power in you. I know you've been eating your beans, You've been eating your Canelo carne. But I'm coming, man. I'm coming strong, man.
Hey,
let's go.
I've been training. I did bad last year. I was a journeyman last year, so I'm coming for it. I've learned my lesson. So this is what we have right now. 5-1, 5-1, both of us. You got 2 KOs. I got 3. Once again, we're keeping track of our predictions. We get a knockout by picking the right winner and the method of that victory as well. For example, let's see. Chris predicted that Benavides would get a KO against Morrell, so he doesn't get a knockout for that one since it was a decision. So yeah, let's ensure Shakur. Sure. What do you think about the kind of circus, I don't know if you could call it that, behind the cancellation of the fight. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really been paying attention. As I said, to me personally, I could care less if Shakur was on this card or not. He's not an exciting fighter. He's not stopping any elite level opposition. He's not even getting into the ring with any elite level opposition. So I didn't care to begin with. But he did get a new opponent. I'll check out his record. I haven't even looked into this, Chris, but if you have any of the backstory, go ahead and let us know what you know.
So, Gio, pretty much Shakur Stevenson, of course, was going to fight Floyd Schofield. Floyd, in my opinion, was kind of like a Morrell kind of guy, calling out, I don't want to say established, but a more credible fighter. I thought it was too soon in his career, but I respect to him for taking this fight. A lot of money to be made in this huge card. So that was kind of like the narrative going in. Fast forward, to now, we've heard Shakur saying, like, hey, I don't think this guy really wants to fight me. He's going to pull out. He's going to make excuses. So a lot of people were like, no, Shakur, like, that's not going to happen. But, lo and behold, that is exactly what happened, Gio. Floyd Schofield didn't show up to any of the press conferences. He didn't show up to any of the meetings, any of the workouts. So everything was indicating that the Shakur Stevenson was foretelling what was going to happen. And from what we've heard, it looks like Floyd Schofield, couldn't make weight or was having trouble making weight. Started throwing a lot of, excuses, a la Deontay Wilder, and just a lot of nonsense, in my opinion. So in a sense, Shakur Stevenson kind of, was taking the high ground, going like, "Hey, man, I'm just here to fight. Like I called it. I think this guy was just using my name for clout. He didn't really want it. If he did, he would have been showing up to these things, and he didn't. So that's pretty much the gist of it, Gio. For me, just on that alone, I feel like Shakur Stevenson his stock has risen, at least with the fans. Of course, I agree with you. He doesn't have too much excitement. He plays a very, very safe game, boxing, stick and move. Sound defense, not the most exciting style, but at least on the outside, he kind of gained some points with me. So, again, I'd like to see Shakur Stevenson's style change a little bit just to make it more exciting, so he could be a complete entertainer. But right now, the one that takes the L, in my opinion, and I hope he gets better, is Floyd Schofield.
All right, so Big Bro has a couple of comments here. Schofield's dad is a bozo, he says, trying to surpass Till Sr. and Angel Garcia with the antics. He says he claimed Shakur's team poisoned his son. And I did see a picture of Floyd Schofield in the hospital. A lot of the comments, surprisingly, were negative ones. Where half of them were, hey, prayers, speedy recovery, and the other half were like, man, this guy has to fake it. This guy is just doing this because he doesn't want to fight. I know Shakur has said that before that he predicted that they wouldn't actually get into the ring, that they'd pull out. Yeah, not sure what happened, but as I said, personally, I don't really care. It's not a fight that I wanted to see, regardless. So I don't really care. And this is what we pulled up earlier. Right now, Josh Hadley. He's from the United Kingdom, Yorkshire, 15-0, 4 knockouts. Oh man, come on, man. He's fighting Shakur, not a guy known for being a puncher either. Only 10 knockouts in his first 22 fights. Shakur, who's now 27 years old, was in possibly the most boring fight ever that we've seen. The last time out, didn't throw many punches, won every single round essentially, put people to sleep early on a Thursday night. He's back. That fight was actually July of 2024. Shakur. But like I said, look, I'm not too mad at it. I'm just glad that he's getting paid. Last time, do you remember what card they pulled him out of because of his opponent as well? Was this supposed to be his first? Was it supposed to be the first fight between Beterbiev and Bivol? I don't remember, but hey, at least he's getting paid. At least he's getting that turkey paycheck. And if I were them, I'd put him as one of the first fights, man. Just get it out of the way and then get to the big dogs.
Yeah, again, if anybody can walk away with something here, it's Padley, man. This guy is unknown. He's here to rescue, the Shakur name to be part of this huge event. So if anybody can salvage something, it's Padley, man. Hey, even if you don't win, leave something in that ring. Like go for broke, do something so people can be like, hey, respect for this guy for saving, this fight, for stepping in last minute, stepping in and filling Bush Cofield's shoes. Again, even in defeat, man, you can walk away with some fans.
Jersey asks, should he be able to knock out Padley, or is that still too much to ask for a Shakur? Very interested in you guys' opinion. Look, he clearly doesn't have power, Shakur, all right? But if a guy is taking the fight on a 2-day notice, come on, man. We don't even know if that guy is going to be in shape. He obviously has never been in a stage like this. You can see some of his previous fights. Most fights he's won by decision. Yeah, I think Shakur should get a knockout in this one. I'm going to agree with Chris. I'm going to agree with Big Bro. I'm going to predict a stoppage for Shakur. And I think he needs it. I think he needs it, Chris. You're saying that his stock has gone up. I think it's gone down ever since that Edwin de los Santos victory, where people weren't happy with his performance. The last one was terrible as well. I think he needs something somewhat spectacular in this one. Obviously, it's a guy we've never heard of, so not sure how spectacular that would be. But I would say yes, he needs to get the stoppage if he wants a big fight. Look, he's an undercard fighter right now. Let's be honest. Shakur can't sell out a family picnic. Like, I don't think many people are gonna pay to ever watch him to watch him fight in a main event. If it's not against a Davis, if it's not against a Lomachenko, if it's not against a Teofimo or any of those guys, he can't sell anything on his own. So if he doesn't get a stoppage, to me, he's going to continue to be an undercard fighter.
Yeah, for me, Gio, anything less than a stoppage would be disappointing. Again, we know how skilled Shakur Stevenson is. Even though he can't sell, you can't deny the skill set that he brings, the high IQ, the sound defense. So even if you don't have power, you should be able to put enough punches together, enough combinations together. You should be outboxing this guy to the point where the referee had to step in and just be like, it's a mismatch. You're losing every single round. So as tough as Padley may be, and again, we don't know who he is really. He's got a few fights that, the chat is saying deserves a little bit of recognition. But, if this is the time for you to make us a fan, this is the time for you to stand out. But yeah, I don't see it happening with a high, IQ of Shakur Stevenson. And if he goes the distance, I'm good. I'll be like, take that stock back. The little that I gave you, I'm taking it back.
Big Bro says he's stopping him in under 6. Jersey says, hope the best for Padley. What an opportunity. Kyle says, I worry about Shakur's hands. He didn't do well in the grip challenge. Did you guys see that? That was one of the funnier videos I've seen of the year so far. So they had a little device that measures the strength of your grip. Eddie Hearn even did it. Eddie Hearn got a very high score. I think he got like 77 kilograms or something like that. Daniel Dubois actually got the strongest grip. Arthur Beterbiev probably broke it. He couldn't even measure it. And then all the other guys did really well. They got around the 70s. Shakur got like 33 or something like that. It was bad. It was very bad. So yeah, I saw that too, Kyle.
I didn't see that one, Joe, but I saw the reflex one, the ones that were dropping and you try to catch them. I saw some guys with slower reflexes than I thought. So I was like, man, I'm taking notes. I'm going to see who's got the reflexes because this is going to come up on Fight Night. I don't know if you saw that one, Gio. The ones that are dropping, you got to try to catch them.
I did see that. But yeah, let's move on.
We're getting the answers behind the scenes, man.
We spent too much time on Shakur Stevenson. Let's see what else we got here. All right. Let's shout out the guys who are on the undercard as well. We got Muhammad Alakel against Angel Gomez. Ziyad Damayu Zizzo, who continues to get on these big Riyadh season cards, against Jonatas Rodrigo Gomez Oliveira. And then, of course, the big names. Let's go into. I'm gonna just go in order as they have it on BoxRec. So we talked Shakur, Josh Padley. We're going with Shakur by stoppage. I'm nervous about that, man. I don't think I've ever said those two words in the same sentence, Chris. Shakur by stoppage. All right. Joshua Buatsi against Callum Smith, Chris. This is a big test here for Buatsi. Obviously, we know Callum Smith has been around the block, 168. To me, he was the champion. You know, before Canelo got there, went up to 75, challenged the biggest name there in Beterbiev. Didn't go his way, but look now, he gets on another huge card. Joshua Buatsi, undefeated, 19-0, 13 KOs, repping the UK by the way of Ghana. And yeah, man, this is a tough one here, man. Let's go. Let's see how Callum Smith is going into this one. 30-2, 22 KOs to his name. 34 years old by Mundo, Callum Smith from Liverpool. Shout out to Liverpool. As I mentioned, that big loss to Beterbiev, and he's only lost to Beterbiev and Saul Alvarez, Chris. The big names, the big dogs of 168 and 175. So, man, 34 years old. We'll see what Callum Smith still has in the tank. Buatsi, on the other hand, 31 years old. So, you know, I think they're thinking, hey, Buatsi's the real deal. He's supposed to be a guy like Callum Smith. But give us your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, no, this one's close, Gio. This one's like 50-50, 52-48. Obviously, you see Joshua Buatsi on the A side, if you want to call that. You know, usually when I see that, I'm like, okay, if I'm being smart, I'm gonna give 60% of these wins to the A side to play it safe. But I don't know, man. These are tricky. These are very close, competitive. Like you said, Callum Smith's got those two losses, and they're to the very best. He doesn't lose to just anybody with that frame, with that range. He's not going to lose to just anybody. So that's, you know, but again, like you said, Joshua Buatsi, there's a reason why they put him on the A side. They must think that he's the goods. They must think that he's got something to upset Smith. And it's always when those guys have that O that I'm like, those are the ones that let it go the hardest, because they still got that O. So I don't know, man. This one's tight, Gio. This one's tight. I think I know where you're leaning. Initially, I think I was leaning that way too. I try to call some of the I don't want to say upsets, but I sometimes like to favor the guys that are not on the A side. So I'm gonna give you my prediction, Gio.
I got my mindset set up. I don't know how you know what I'm thinking, because I don't even know what I'm thinking. But I made up my mind. I know who I'm going for.
I made up my mind as well. I went first last time. I'll let you go first, so you don't say that picking up each other. So I'll let you go. But I've got my mindset too, and I don't care what you say. I'm gonna say what I have written down right here.
Yeah, I'm going Callum Smith decision.
Damn.
He might get a stoppage. I don't know. Big Bro agrees. He says I got Callum Smith beating Buatsi. I'm not sure Buatsi's ready for him. You know, people forget. As I said, to me, Callum Smith was the champion at 175. He won the tournament there, the WBSS tournament, and he was the guy. I mean, if you look at his resume, obviously until he ran into Canelo, that's when he looked terrible, and a lot of people started calling him a punching bag, a bum. But you know, those people don't really know what they're talking about, man. Look, before Canelo, he had that. Where am I looking at here? Well, he had that fight against Ryder. I thought he possibly lost that one. That was a very close one. I thought he was very lucky to get the decision. He made easy work of Hassan and Dam and George Groves. And I mean, up until that Canelo fight, like I said, maybe if you want to count the John Ryder fight, but he was looking great up until then. Even at 75, he got some tremendous KOs. And then obviously once you fight that boogeyman there, I don't think many people were giving him a chance against Beterbiev. But I think Callum Smith is he's that guy. You know, he's that type of caliber of fighter that I think he can use his experience to defeat Buatsi. But I can see Buatsi proving us wrong, but I'm still going with Callum Smith for this one. I think he gets a decision. He might even get a stoppage.
All right, I'm gonna show you what I have, Gio, and I didn't write it in between our takes. It might be split screen, so you might see it backwards, but this is what I had, Gio. I had Callum by decision as well, and I divided my sheet because I don't want to give up my other predictions. But yeah, Callum decision, and of course he could get a knockout. I completely agree. This is one of those moments where, you know, somebody's blue chip fighter might just bust an Anderson. I think the opponent is just too much, too big, too experienced. Callum Smith is he's got all that, and again, he only lost to the very best. No shame in losing to the Beterbievs and Canelos, but Watsy is not those guys. So Callum Smith by decision as well, and he could get a knockout. I see that also being a possibility, but Callum by decision.
Yeah. As I said, we could be wrong. I wouldn't be surprised, but 19 fights only at 31 years old for Buatsi. Not sure that's enough to prepare you for that world-class level. I did get to see some highlights of his last fight as well. I went back to it. I didn't necessarily like how he looked. Hey, look, if Callum Smith can catch him, it might be a short night for Buatsi. I was hoping you would go for the A side, but hey, we're on the same page right here, so we're both going for Callum. Big Bro says, "Say it with your chest." Yeah, you see, Chris didn't want to say it. He was a little scared.
Hey, I mean, I kind of knew you're gonna go for your Liverpool guy. You know, I kind of saw
Let's
it.
go.
Watsy 31, like you said, if he was 26, 27, and I don't know, again, something about these British guys, no disrespect, guys. I know you guys follow the channel, but I don't know. I'm not fully convinced. And again, you know, we're here to be proven wrong. Watsy could very well be the good. So we'll see on fight night. This is going to be a very competitive, very, very, 50-50 kind of fight, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I didn't get a chance to put all of these polls up on our channel yet, but we do have some up there. Beterbiev, Bivol's up there, Ortiz, and Madrimov is up there. And if I get a chance throughout this podcast to post some of the other ones, I will. But you guys can go vote. If you guys go on our posts tab right there, you guys can cast your votes. Who do you think is going to win? Let me refresh that, see what it's looking like. 21 votes so far for that Ortiz Madrimov fight. 33 votes so far for that Beterbiev and Bivol fight. These were just posted right before the podcast, so I haven't looked at them. I'm not going to click on anything yet. I'll click on them when we get to them, but if you guys want to go ahead and vote, you guys can do that now. All right, make your voices heard. So we're going, let me make sure we write these down. We're going Shakur, stoppage, and we're going Smith. You going with decision, Chris? Final take?
Final take.
KO.
Final take.
Smith, decision. All right. Let's move on. What else do we have?
In a little while, Gio, we're gonna have some different ones.
Man, say it with your chest. Say it with your chest, Chris. All right.
Go.
Let's see. What do we have here? Let's go back to event. We got the first two. Zile Zong. Ajit Caballel. I don't know if I'm saying his first name right, but Caballel 25-0 from Germany, 17 KOs. He last stopped Frank Sanchez. That's how he landed with this big Caballel. And on the other hand, Zile Zong coming off that defeat versus, well, actually the win against Deontay Wilder before defeat against Joseph Parker. Zile, who has 2 losses, 27 wins, 22 KOs. 41 years old, however. That age right there, the 6'6" Chinese man, very popular, big puncher, good boxer as well. Lost to Hergovich, lost to Joseph Parker in a majority. And yeah, he gets another huge opportunity, I'd say. The winner is going to get a big fight. You know, obviously with Dubois being on the card, you know, Dubois and Parker, You would think the winner would get Usyk, but you never know, Chris. We've seen crazier things, so I think Zile, if he gets a win, he's still in the mix. And of course, if Cabello wins, of course he'd be in the mix. Still an undefeated fighter, younger. So this is a big, big fight here in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, no, this one's intriguing. Obviously, the age factor favors Caballero. That perfect record favors Caballero. Zane's got the experience. Zane's got that late bloomer kind of spring. He's been working so much behind the scenes and behind cameras. Almost, it almost feels like it was the last 3 years where he kind of sprang to the forefront. And he's had some good wins. He's had some losses. So he's a bit of a wild card. But they have him on the east side. So some people might feel like he can get Caballero out of there. And I feel like it just depends on what Zhilei Zhang shows up. Obviously you can only read so much when they come up during their press conferences and you hear the confidence in their voice. So to me, he seems very confident. He seems, like he knows he only has a few moments left to really capture glory. And, I feel he might see Caballero as an experience. And even though he's very good, he has to be careful. I think he feels like his all the experience that he's had throughout the years is enough. So man, this one's tough, Gio. Let me make the prediction first this time around. I'm gonna say that Zile has an off night, and I'm gonna go for the momentum of Caballero. I'm gonna say Caballero. I'm gonna say Caballero by decision, man. I know it's kind of tough in the heavyweight divisions to go a decision because they can hurt each other at any moment. But I'm gonna say Caballero by decision. And I could be wrong.
Kyle, I think, agrees with you. He says it would be hard pressed to bet against Caballero. Zane can be outboxed. And we got our first different prediction, Chris. You see my smile. I'm happy about this. I'm going Zile KO, man. I think Zile catches him. Not too confident in that prediction, but it's a heavyweight division. Anything can happen. I do think Zhang is still the better boxer, the better puncher, but we're gonna have to wait and see on fight night. I'm hoping he catches Caballero, and I think he can get a stoppage. Not sure why I wasn't too impressed with Caballero's stoppage on Frank Sanchez. I think it kind of looked like Frank quit a little bit too. If you guys rewind and go back to that one, he got up right after the count too. So I'm going with Zile Zhang's Big Bang. I'm going with his experience, and he said, Caballero, Saturday, I'm gonna bang you. No Diddy. That's what he said. Those were his words. So I'm going with Zile.
Yeah, obviously it's a style preference. Obviously, Joe, I tend to favor the boxer style. Obviously, in the heavyweight division, that goes out the window. And we'll talk about it with some of the heavyweights on that card later on. But yeah, man, I'm baking that a Caballero's win over Frank Sanchez wasn't a fluke. Again, I like that clean record. No losses against a good boxer in Sanchez, a good background. Obviously, that pedigree in the amateurs. So it tells you that Caballero can box. So again, I could be proven wrong. Zhilei Zhang may have enough bang in the trunk to get Caballero out and expose him as too inexperienced. But we'll see on fight night. Again, you gotta roll the dice, Gio. I gotta try to separate myself. I thought you were gonna go with Caballero, but okay, you're banking on Zhang's power, and not gonna lie, I'm a little scared. But we'll see what happens on fight night.
Big Bang. Hey, Big Bro agrees with you, though. He says Caballero UD.
Cool. The first time me and Big Bro agree. Here we go.
All right, that's gonna be that's gonna be interesting. I'm looking forward to that one more so than before now. All right. Let's see what else we have on this card, man. It seems like it's never ending. There's so many names on here. We're about halfway through. Let's go with Carlos Adames first versus Hamza Shiraz. For me, the one this fight is flying under the radar. Adames, 24-1, 18 KOs out of the Dominican Republic, 30 years old. He does have one defeat. He last defeated Terrell Gaucher, friend of the show. You see some of the notable fights there. He lost to Patrick Tejeda. He defeated Sergey Devrichenko. And on the other hand, Hamza Shiraz, representing the UK, 21-0, 17 KOs. Defeated Austin Williams. Oh, what bout was this? This was the, I think that was a 5-on-5, right? Queensberry versus Matchroom, and he destroyed Hamill Williams. He was a lot bigger than him, though. Other than that, not too many notable names on there. So this is a good one. I think this is going to be the toughest one for me to decide. I haven't really came up with a prediction, I'm going to be honest, but I mean this could go either way, man. We know how the Brits get down, Chris, but let's not kid ourselves. This is basically a British card, Chris. Let's not kid ourselves. You know, they follow the British rules when it comes to the midweek weigh-ins and all that stuff. So these guys damn well might as well be at home court fighting in Saudi Arabia. So yeah, this is a tough one, man.
Yeah, again, this one's close. This one is like a few of the other ones that I had to think about, and it came to a point, Joe, because I think I was using my brain too much. I was like, obviously, there's that moment where you go with your heart and your brain, and there was a moment where I was going through these predictions. Joe, I was like, I'm gonna turn it off. Let me just go with my gut feeling, and I'm gonna go with Carlos Adames, Gio. I like his energy in the press buildup. Obviously, he's got a formidable opponent in front of him, but I like that energy, and sometimes that energy plays against you. But I think the thing you were feeling with Big Babe, with Zile Zong, I'm feeling with Carlos Adames. I think he's a dog. I think he's got that will, and I just see him just imposing himself, over his opponents. So Carlos Adames, with the power, with the attitude, with the will, I think he knows this is life-changing money, and he's not gonna pass it by.
Oh man, initially, yeah, I wanted to go with Adames. He's more experienced. He's fought the better opposition. I might just have to play devil's advocate though. I don't know. I like Shiraz. I like Hamza Shiraz. He's a powerful puncher. I'm very torn between this one. I'm not gonna pretend like I know too much about these fighters. Obviously, I've seen them a couple fights, but yeah, this is clearly Hamza Shiraz's biggest challenge. Do I think he's going to pass it? Oh, man. Not too convinced, but I'll go with Hamza Shiraz, Chris.
Ooh, okay.
You said decision?
I said Carlos Adames knockout.
Knockout.
I'm going to say knockout.
Damn, you said knockout.
And hey, he could be knocked out too. Again, I think the Carlos Adames or República Dominicana, it's not the Cuban style. It's not the boxing-esque style. Those guys take risks, and again, the risk comes with the reward, and the risk comes with opening up yourself up. So, yeah, I don't see this one going the distance. I think he's going in there to kill or be killed. Again, so I like his energy, and I think he's gonna bring a combine that he's gonna want to stand out for sure.
Hey, this one might set me back, but I'll go with Shiraz. Man, do I want to say KO or do I want to say decision? Oh, I don't know if these guys want many decisions, Chris. There's a lot of fights on these cards.
Right. I think they know that they're trying to steal the show of shows. So I feel like outside of Shakur, nobody there is going to try to play extra safe, except for the main event where it's a strategic chess match mixed with power. But I think all the other guys are there to put on the show.
I'll just go Shiraz KO. I'm gonna follow Big Bro's lead. I'm gonna go Shiraz KO. Yeah, I don't think these guys want any decisions on this card. It's a ton of fights, and I think most of these guys, honestly, most of these guys who are gonna fight tonight, have that in the back of their minds. I think, as you said, they want to steal the show. No one wants to go out here and watch all these fights go the distance. And I'm gonna go with Shiraz KO. He has the knockout power. We'll see what Adames is made of. And we'll see what Shiraz is made of, you know. I'm a little torn, but I'll go Shiraz KO.
Hey, again, anything can happen in this fight. Again, there's certain fights where I'm like, I don't want to think. I just want to feel, and that's what I'm feeling. And could be wrong, but putting that down, that Carlos Adames power. So
You're very feel right now.
very feel. And again, Gio, just to that point, Gio, I think we've gotten past that Floyd Mayweather era point. You know, where people are just afraid to risk that zero because they feel like they're going to be shelled. Obviously, we see all the promoters working together. We know that Oscar de la Hoya had that sentiment like let's have the best fight the best. That's how I did it. That's how I want to, go into the Hall of Fame as a promoter. I think, Turkey Alishik shares those same sentiments where, like, hey, man, if you put on a show for me and for my people, obviously they're trying to bring tourism there. If you're able to put those shows, I can see him bringing them back. As long as they're fan friendly, they're willing to leave it all on the line. And I see that happening again come fight night. That's why, really, I couldn't miss this event.
All right. Another good fight, says Kyle. Yeah, man, a ton of good action. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one here. All right. We got through Shakur. We got through Bawatsi, Zung. Oh, we got to talk about this big one. No Diddy, Chris. No Diddy. Virgil Ortiz Jr. versus Israel Madrimov. Someone's gonna get banged in this one. Again, no Diddy. I'm just copying what Zile Zong has been saying all week. But this is a big one. You've been in that Madrimov camp, so we'll see if Chris goes with that friendship that he has with the guys from India, or we've interviewed Virgil Ortiz many times as well. So we know both guys. We know both camps. The Robert camp, the Joel Diaz camp. Big fight. Big test for Virgil Ortiz. Obviously a big test for Madrimov too. He looked very good against Crawford. Ortiz, to me, I think looked good against Bocha considering the type of opponent. He did get knocked down. He got up. He won a very close decision. Many people thought he could have lost that fight, but to me, that was a great test. And this is a big fight here, man. This is I think this is as 50-50 as it gets.
Yeah, Gio, like you said, 3 fights left, 3 fights left to put our predictions, championship rounds. This one is no exception when it comes to, how competitive it's going to be, in my opinion. And you said it, Gio. I've been in camp with Joel Diaz and those boys, and you know me, when I see somebody that's humble, that's hardworking, that gives me Triple G vibes, I'm like, okay, I'm slowly becoming a fan. Of course, we try to stay impartial. We try to, stay in the middle, but these are prediction times, and we got to go with what we're seeing. And yeah, man, we've interviewed Virgil Ortiz. Obviously, very hard to bet against somebody like that. You saw the interview with Joel Diaz. He doesn't mince his words. Virgil Ortiz is somebody that's going to find a way, man. He's going to keep coming. He's going to will himself, even when he's getting dropped in a higher division that he's growing his body into. Obviously, we know that Madrimov is the natural 154 pounder. He's the guy that's been there his whole career. And again, he feels those punches, a little bit better than these 147s that are coming up. So, yeah, I mean, this is a competitive fight. I think a lot of people are favoring Virgil, but like you said, that fight with Terrence Crawford, even though Madrimov came a little short on the judges' scorecards, shows his versatility and he shows that he's really tricky. A lot of people felt that Crawford was going to win that fight, easy 9-3 rounds. I kind of thought that was going to happen, and then when I saw the fight and saw how tricky Madrimov was, I was like, okay, he's got an unorthodox style that can give people problems. So, with that said, Gio, very hard to decide this one. You asked me a year ago, I would have said Virgil. You asked me 3 years ago, 4 years ago, Virgil all the way. His descent to the top has been, nonstop. outside of Beterbiev, he's the guy with the highest knockout ratio. You can't bet against a guy like that. Now Madrimov, he's got he's the true 154. He's got a tricky style. So, man, this is tough. I'm gonna stand out, Gio, and I'm gonna go with the politics. I feel like there's gonna be some politics in this one. I'm gonna say split draw. I think one judge is gonna see it for Virgil. I think one judge is gonna see it for Madrimov, and I think one of them is gonna have it 114 down the middle. So I'm gonna say majority, or I'm gonna say split draw. I think it's gonna go that way, and there's gonna be some controversy in my opinion.
Wow, I don't know if we've ever had a prediction be a draw, but hey, I ain't mad at it. That's very hard to do, so that helps me. Let me go ahead and write that down, make sure we get these right. You're going with a draw. I have my mind made up already, but I do want to play this clip with Joel Diaz. As I said, you've been visiting that camp over there, getting a ton of interviews, a lot of behind the scenes action. You guys can check those out on our YouTube channel. But this is what Joel Diaz had to say about that Virgil Ortiz fight.
Virgil Ortiz is a great fighter. I trained Virgil Ortiz for his first 9 fights, and I know Virgil Ortiz really well. He has a big heart. He has great conditioning. Once the bell rings, he's gonna come rushing you. He's gonna try to break you because that's his style. And he has a big heart. Virgil Ortiz is a fighter that keeps coming even if you hit him. Even if he's hurt, he's right there on your face. So we know very well that Virgil Ortiz is going to go with that mentality to break you like he did to every single one of his opponents. Right. We know that. How do you prepare for a fighter like that? Physically and mentally, you have to prepare yourself 100%. Because if you can't stand the pressure, and not only that, Virgil Ortiz gets really hard. I mean, he's just physically strong. He's a great athlete. Mm-hmm. He's always in top shape, and he just doesn't stop. He keeps coming. He keeps coming. So the only way to stop Virgil Ortiz is to hurt him. And you gotta hurt him to stop him. If you don't hurt him, you're never gonna stop. Like Virgil Ortiz.
All right, so that was Joel Diaz, who is the trainer of Madrimov. So, I don't know. Some of the comments were interesting, but I'm gonna go with Virgil Ortiz decision. I kind of want to say knockout, but it's 154, man. Madrimov, he's a solid guy. He's a great boxer, I'd say. Great boxing skills. But when Virgil hits you, it's a little different, man. Anytime a power puncher hits you, it changes things. It slows you down. It makes you hesitate. Biggest fight for Virgil Ortiz in his career. I can easily see him losing this one. I'm not going to lie. I thought Madrimov defeated Crawford with his style. Let's see if that style is suitable to beat a power puncher / boxer like Virgil Ortiz. Very hard to hurt Ortiz as well. So, I wouldn't be shocked if Ortiz takes the first loss of his career. But I think he could pull this off by a little bit. I don't think he'll be as dominant. Big Bro Grease, he says Virgil UD. So I'm going with Virgil UD. Hey, we gotta add Big Bro to the column, Chris. We gotta add Big Bro to the column right here next to ours. You guys see our past predictions there are making it a little bit easier to read because there is a lot of info on there. But I'm going Virgil decision. But again, as 50-50 as it gets this fight, man.
Yeah, Gio, in hindsight, I feel like the boxing fan would favor Virgil Ortiz because of his volume, because of his, he never say die kind of attitude. He keeps coming forward, puts his punches together. He puts that volume all together, and he, more often than not, gets those knockdowns and those knockouts. We've talked about the ceiling of fighters. Where is it that they cap, or where is it where I don't want to say they don't bring their power, but their power doesn't translate the way it naturally did in their lower divisions or the divisions that they were in previous. We're starting to see that with Virgil. We've seen him start to get caught, start to get dropped. Obviously, he rallies back. You see that energy. You see that look in his face where he's like, he knows he has to avenge that knockdown. He needs to get it back. He needs to get that lick back, get that round back. So he does that. So I feel that, Madrimov has to do, something that Boachek has done, something that, some of the other opponents have done to Virgil, and it's knock him down. I don't see him being knocked out, but I do see him getting dropped here and there. So for Madrimov, I feel like that's the game plan he needs to pursue. Taking chances and like Joel Diaz said, you gotta hurt him. As for Virgil, if Virgil does the knocking down, I don't see Madrimov getting out of that hole. So again, it's anything can happen in this fight. Again, you see Virgil always coming forward, and if he stays defensively sound, he can have much success. But Madrimov does have that trickiness, and he's got that 154 true, build. So again, we'll see how these guys come on fight night. I feel like it's gonna be a very physical fight. Obviously, we know that the Boachek versus Virgil was a physical come forward fight. This one's gonna be a little bit different with Madrimov using his angles and stuff. So it's gonna be an interesting fight nonetheless. And again, I'm as a guy that's interviewed both these guys, that likes both guys, I'm just glad these guys are getting paid and they're getting their money. That makes me feel really good, Gio, because again, it's a tough fight. It's as much as we would try to be impartial. We interview these guys, we get to know them, their teams, their families. So we want to see them all winning, but of course, this is boxing, so somebody has to win and somebody has to lose.
Oh man, Chris being politically correct, and he wants no problems. He's a straight down the middle draw. Yeah, I can see Virgil also stopping Madrimov. I think that's gonna be his goal. I think he wants to make a statement. Me, like many people, saw Madrimov defeat Crawford. So if Virgil can challenge Madrimov and stop him, that's going to be a great confidence booster. Man, not sure he can get it done with Madrimov's tricky style, but I could see any outcome in this one, honestly. I think the outcome that I least expect is Madrimov hurting Virgil or stopping Virgil, but I can see Madrimov beating Virgil. I can see Virgil winning by decision, and I can see Virgil winning by stoppage. So this is that type of fight, 50-50 fight. This is the type of fight that we want to see as boxing fans. So very excited for this one. I'm going Virgil decision. Chris is going literally split down the middle, draw.
And again, Gio, this is for the interim WBC, the one that Virgil holds. The winner obviously takes that one home and becomes a mandatory to Sebastian Fundora's full WBC belt. We know that's it. Sebastian wants to get that money with Errol Spence, and we'll see if that happens or not. But that's the picture at 154. Obviously we know that 154 is a crazy loaded division, scary division, much sexier right now than the middleweight. We got to be honest. So again, it's a good time for 154 pounders as they're navigating names, dancing partners to call for these money fights. So yeah, dude, I'm excited for this one. Again, I'm split. The winner of this one is really going to position themselves for bigger and better things. And this one goes down, in my opinion, as a mini legacy fight. So can't wait to see that again. We talked about it in previous interviews, Gio. This one also pins Joel Diaz against Robert Garcia. So they're going to have their own little match outside, adapting, playing chess, doing what they need to do to make their fighters successful throughout the fight. So be on the lookout for that as well.
Yeah, and Joel said he felt like he was cheated the last time out against Robert. So he was a little pissed off about that and wants to get it back. But look, the only concern for me is Madrimov, 12 pro fights, 10 1-1, 7 KOs. But besides that Crawford fight, not a very good resume on his end. Like I said, I think he's a great boxer, great skills. I just don't think he has showed it. I don't think he has the experience. And that was my criticism with Terrence Crawford. I don't think he should have been struggling against a guy with 11 fights like he did. So that's why I'm leaning also toward Virgil. Even though Virgil, how old is Madrimov? 30. Virgil is younger than that, but to me, he has better experience, better challenges at 26. That Boachek fight was a challenge. The Maurice Hooker, that KO, I think, was a good confidence booster for him. And now at 154, let's see if he can carry that power and if he can hurt Madrimov and or win. He's going to have to box in this one too. It's not going to be just power. So looking forward to this one, but they both look confident. All right, moving on, Chris. We still have a lot of these fights to dissect. I believe it's two more, the two biggest fights on this card. Virgil and Madrimov could have easily been, the co-headliners. Madrimov is surprisingly very popular. If you go to his Instagram, he has over 1 million followers. On the videos that we posted on our channel, he gets a ton of comments from his fans in Uzbekistan, his supporters. So shout out to Uzbekistan, man. They're passionate boxing fans. So I think whoever wins, they're on their way to stardom, Chris. This is a big fight. Madrimov and Virgil Ortiz. But as I said, let's go ahead and move on. We got Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker, Chris. Big fight. Dubois, 22-2. The big bloke, 27 years old. Triple D, 22-2, 21 knockouts, man. This guy goes for knockouts. This guy doesn't want to box you. He last defeated Anthony Joshua by stopping him in one of the knockouts of the year. That was September of 2024. Stopped Hrgovic. Stopped Gerald Miller. Lost only to Alexander Usyk and Joe Joyce. He got stopped in both of those fights. The Usyk one a little controversial, as many of us thought he landed a body shot. Referee deemed that it was a little too low under the belt line, and Usyk had all the time in the world to recover. But Usyk back in the picture, in the big picture, you can say. He even has a belt, that vacant belt. I was talking about that IBF BS last week, Chris. They go around stripping everyone, but Triple D has that belt now, and he's got a big fight, a big test against Joseph Parker, who kind of resurrected his career, 33 years old, out of New Zealand, 35-3, 23 KOs. He last defeated Zhilei Zhang by majority decision. Won every single round against Deontay Wilder, and it's been a while since he's taken a loss. It's been almost 3 years. He lost to Joe Joyce, got stopped in that one. And yeah, you really got to rewind back. 2018, that was his other loss against Dillian White and Anthony Joshua that same year. But ever since, he's been pretty consistent, pretty active, and back in the big picture. Big fight, title fight against Triple D, Daniel Dubois.
Yeah, no, this is a fight that pins two guys with momentum. Obviously, you mentioned Joseph Parker. I think he's been boxing brilliantly the last couple of fights. Like you said, he's been in the game a lot, but he's still fairly young. It's almost surprising that he's that young. I would expect him to have more years, but he's just been fighting, the top guys for a while now. And then you got obviously Triple D, who's had, the will to just come out on top against very game-name fighters like the ones you just mentioned. And again, obviously he still has another year because he wants to avenge that loss to Usyk. So even though he's got this guy in front of him, he's, without overlooking too much, he already knows he needs to do more to reach that level and those names and that payday. And I think he sees Joseph Parker as just another, stone in the way. So I want to give you the floor, Gio, to make a prediction. Yeah, this one can go either way. I can see, Joseph boxing. I can see Triple D willing himself to another big win. But yeah, man, this one is could go either way.
Chris, you can't hand it off to me and then keep talking. That's not how it works. Man, long-winded answers, but I'm going to keep mine nice and short. I'm going to go Dubois KO. Am I confident? No, but I'm going Dubois KO.
Okay, I didn't expect that. I thought you were going to go with Big Bro and go Parker decision. I thought that, his resurgence was going to convince you back. Okay, I think you're a believer of Triple D, and that's exactly who I went with. Triple D right there, man. This guy has made me look good. I got to repay him, with that same faith. I think he's got just too much dog in him. Where this is just another notch that he's got to pick up. And again, Joseph Parker could very well, box himself into a knockout and knockout Triple D. But I just think Triple D has shown a very good chin. He's shown that he's got that extra gear, man, and you can't teach that. That's red. So yeah, man, I'm gonna go with Triple D, and I'm gonna say by. He doesn't know any other way, man. I agree. He's gonna win by knockout.
So you got Triple D by knockout as well. And look, the chat disagrees. Big Bro saying Parker UD. Kyle says I think Parker can win if he can slow it down and outbox Dubois. He was able to beat Zhang even with getting knocked down twice. And yeah, great point. This guy's a veteran. This guy's fought everybody. Andy Ruiz, Zile, Wilder, Joshua. Man, and yeah, I definitely think he can outbox Dubois. Dubois doesn't have the greatest stamina. He's very muscular. He gets tired the second half of the fight, so I can easily see Joseph Parker outboxing him. But I don't know. I think this is Triple D's time, and he's got some serious power. He's got some serious power. And I'm gonna stick to that prediction. But yeah, I think this is more of a like 55-40 fight. 45 type of fight. I'm favoring Dubois, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I'm very curious to see what the odds are on this one. I'm gonna look it up, Chris, while you give your final take on this fight.
Yeah, no. Again, Joseph Parker could lull this fight and drag it on and make it a boxing exhibition. Again, I don't think too many people picked him to do what he did to Deontay Wilder. I think people felt Deontay Wilder was going to come back from those Tyson Fury defeats, and Joseph Parker was going to be the perfect kind of opponent, and it turned out to be the complete opposite. It was a wake-up call for Deontay Wilder. Joseph Parker showed that he can box, and obviously it doesn't take a whole lot to box Deontay Wilder, but nobody expected, that punch not to land. So again, Joseph Parker is a much better boxer, than he's led us to know. So the last couple of years has been great for him, and he proved us wrong then, and he might prove us wrong come Saturday night. But I just don't see it. I see, like you said, Gio, this is Triple D's time, and he's feeling himself. He wants that Usyk get back, and I don't see anybody stopping him, that's not named Usyk. So, yeah, I'm excited for this one. This one's going to be a toss-up, I feel. But, yeah, Triple D, let's go.
Let's see. That bloke better not let us down. Let's see what the odds are here. Dubois was minus 245. Okay. Parker plus 194. That's how it opened. I think it was even wider now. Wow. Now I'm surprised by that, but I think people were favoring the champion, Daniel Dynamite Dubois. We're both going with Dubois. Stoppage over Parker, but it's going to be a good fight, man. Parker has proved us wrong a couple of times, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Let's see. Triple D, K, O. All right. Main event, obviously. Arthur Beterbiev, Dimitri Bivol, the rematch. Arthur Beterbiev coming into this one 21-0, 20 KOs now. Only one of those fights has not finished in a knockout. That was his last fight against Dimitri Bivol, October of 2024. 40 years old, Arthur Beterbiev. Dimitri Bivol on the other hand, thought he got the short end of the stick. Wasn't happy with his performance. 23-1, 12 KOs, 34 years old. Both Russian fighters. Man, this is going to be a big one. I honestly don't have too much to say. I haven't really paid attention to what the internet is saying. I know Joel Diaz thinks this fight is going to be wider for Bivol this time. He thought Bivol won. I know a lot of people did. Before we get into our predictions, let's rewind and go back to the polls, man. I'm very curious to see how these polls are looking. We're going to look at that Ortiz poll first. I'm going to go ahead and cast my vote for Ortiz. 74% are saying Ortiz. I'm not surprised. I'm not going to lie. People only picking Madrimov because Crawford's performance, says a comment. And there's a lot of Ortiz support on our channel, so I'm not surprised by that wide gap there. 74-26 for Ortiz. This was posted an hour ago, so you guys still have a ton of time to go vote. 46 votes only at this point in time. And I'm going to cast my vote live here so you guys can see it. About 50 votes so far. I'm going with Beterbiev. 59% of the people are saying Beterbiev. I'm going to go with Beterbiev knockout, Chris. I'm going Beterbiev knockout. I think I'm saying that. I don't want to beat around the bush. I'm going straight to the point, straight for the KO like Beterbiev. I think Bivol has to change things drastically, in my opinion, if he has to win. I think, contrary to popular belief, I thought he had a great performance in that first fight. Every single fighter that has faced Artur Beterbiev in the pro ranks has been stopped, dismantled, not even close. Bivol went the distance. To me, that's already a great game plan, great performance, and that was just not enough to win. I think he's going to have to take more risks, and with more risks against a power puncher, against a technician, against a good counter puncher like Beterbiev, I think that's a suicide mission. I think he gets stopped in this one.
Wow, yeah, no, I figured you were gonna go with Beterbiev, but of course, you made it clear that you felt that he was the deserved winner in that first fight, and again, it was a very competitive fight. Could have gone either way. Could have been even a draw. I had Bivol winning that fight. I felt he boxed convincingly, even though he was in the shell. I felt that he was being smart in there. I know people are going to say just because you don't get knocked out doesn't mean you win, but it does tell a story of how that fight went. So again, even though it could have gone either way, 7-5 for either man, I saw it go in Bivol's way slightly, and I see him doing the same this time around, Gio. I did have my I had my doubts because we did say and we agreed that Beterbiev wasn't at 100%. I wanted to see what he did. I felt he was going in 85%, 80%. So he is coming older come this fight, but he's much better. He's much more, he's in better physical condition. So that does make me a little nervous, but I think Bivol found out something about himself, and I do agree he does have to take more risks, but he knows what's coming back this time around. So I'm going to divide myself, Gio. I'm going to say Bivol by decision. I don't see him hurting or knocking Beterbiev down, but I do see him outboxing him, and I think he knows he has to make it even more clear, and I see him doing that. So, yeah, Bivol by decision, Gio.
Yeah, and I think this is, to me, worst case scenario Bivol, best case scenario Beterbiev. The rematch happened right away. The last one was in October. This is great news for Beterbiev, who I think was a little hesitant in the first fight because of that knee injury. They had to postpone the first fight because of that injury. He needed to get a procedure done on that knee. And it kind of seemed like in the first half of the fight, he was kind of testing it out, didn't want to gas himself out. And then once he found his rhythm, to me, he had dominant rounds where Bivol didn't throw punches for a minute and a half. I think that just tells us there's a lack of confidence there. I think that's going to happen a lot in this second fight. I am worried, though. I mentioned this last week and at the beginning of the show, too. Comment that Big Bro says here. I'm going with Bivol, just barely a contested decision. I think they're going to try to make a trilogy. Turkey, Bivol's his guy, all right? He predicted that Bivol was going to win the first fight. After the fight, he said he thought Bivol won. And this one, he's already throwing it out there. Hey, there's going to be a trilogy of Bivol wins. So if it's a decision, I think they're going to give it to Bivol. That's what I'm saying. Beterbiev KO. I am very concerned about that. I'm sure none of us would mind a trilogy. But yeah, I just don't see if Bivol catches if Beterbiev catches Bivol flush. I don't think he gets up this time. And I don't think Bivol is going into this fight with any confidence at all.
Yeah, no, again,
I could be wrong, but that's just what I saw from the first fight.
yeah, if Beterbiev comes 100%, then we're going to get the Beterbiev that people are used to, the machine that we're used to, the 100% knockout ratio kind of fighter. And that's scary. That is scary, Gio. Again, even at 85%, I thought he did fight very well. It was enough to convince the judges at hand I'm curious to see what judges they have, and obviously it's a style kind of preference. If they like the come forward fighter, if they like the boxer, I could see how they voted for Beterbiev in that first fight, because Beterbiev was being the ring general in a sense. He was coming forward, heavy hands. Bivol was boxing in my mind masterfully. Not a De La Hoya Tito, but enough to sway some of the judges. So again, he needs to do more of that. It's very hard to do that against a Beterbiev. It's going to be, in my opinion, a different level of tricky this time around, because you got somebody that's 100% or close to 100%. So it's going to be tricky. So again, if Bivol Gio does what many people thought he was going to do, which was keep his 100% knockout ratio intact, he's going to go down as the greatest light heavyweight Gio. And I think if he knocks out Bivol, there won't be talk of a trilogy. So again, can't wait to see this one. If Bivol wins, which I predict he will, we're going to see a third fight. And again, it's going to be just as competitive as our first fight. It's going to be very, very close. And I think you cannot turn away each and every round.
A lot of the chat is going Bivol. Kyle's going with Bivol. Big Bro's going with Bivol. MAW, shout out to him. He's going with Bivol. He's also going with Parker via decision. He said he's rooting for the boxer. How does Bivol win? Coach Joel Diaz thinks that he needs to smother Beterbiev and throw more punches and get close to Beterbiev. I like a lot of people think that's a suicide mission, because man, people forget that Beterbiev is a technician. I mean, he's just as good of a boxer as Bivol is without the extra movement. I think he's more efficient with his movement and with his power. And obviously he has a ton more power than Bivol, but if you get close to Beterbiev, he's gonna punch with you. He's that type of fighter. He's gonna let his hands go while you're punching. He trusts his chin. He trusts his power. So how does Bivol win? How do you guys think Bivol wins? Because as I said, I thought he had a great game plan in fight one, and that wasn't enough. So how does he pull it off in this time around? He has to be more aggressive, you would think.
Yeah, for me, he does have to be more aggressive, but calculated aggressive. He's going to be moving around. I know that's going to exhaust his tank a lot, but I think he prepared himself, to an extent that we haven't seen before. Obviously, he's always in great shape, just like Virgil is. They always come in physically, in physically top shape. They run their miles, they put in the time, and I think he put in the time this time around, because he doesn't want to feel the way he felt, when those judges awarded Beterbiev that fight. So again, I just see him outboxing more, taking more chances, but doing it in a much more efficient way. So again, it's going to be efficiency on steroids. That's what I expect. And again, it's a tough assignment. Even though you do get a Beterbiev that's older, that's 6 months older than he was before, it's going to take a little bit, but he's healthier. So again, that kind of cancels out. But man, I'm excited for this one. Again, it's down the middle, Gio. It's down the middle, and anything can happen. But again, if Beterbiev at 100% does knock out a Bivol, man, he goes down as one of the great light heavyweight, maybe the greatest.
Chris just repeated what he said earlier, but yeah, I don't see it happening. But like I said, if it goes the distance, I do think Bivol will get the nod. But yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be very, very tough, because I just think Bivol is who he is. I don't think he's gonna switch really anything. And on Beterbiev's side, you don't have to change anything. You won the first fight, and you weren't even 100%. So, yeah, it's gonna be very tough. Kyle says stick and move. He tried it in the first fight. Judges didn't seem to like it. Bivol can launch his combo and tie him up. That's a great strategy, Trump. Negate Beterbiev's offense. Yeah, he's gonna have to tie a lot. Yeah, see that's a good one. You can't let Beterbiev get off, because fight changes once he touches you. So let's go to the odds here. This is what's popping up on Google. Beterbiev minus 140, Bivol plus 110. If you guys remember, I believe Bivol was a favorite in the first fight. How? Not sure. I think the Canelo effect, the fame from the Canelo fight, but Now Beterbiev as the undisputed champion at 175 obviously gets that nod. He's coming into the fight as the favorite. So, yeah, man, big night of Boxing Day for us. This is what the zone is projecting will be the start time for the event. 8 a.m. Pacific time, to be specific. If you're on the West Coast, LA area, California, like us, 8 a.m. Pacific. And the main event ring walk approximately 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. if you are on the East Coast. So, man, it's going to be a busy morning / afternoon for us watching this live. And you see it here. All the names: Buatsi, Smith, Zong, Cabello, Ortiz, Madrimov, Adames, Shiraz, Stevenson, Padley, Dubois, Parker, Beterbiev, Bivol. Chris, yes or no? I know you like to say long-winded answers. Yes or no? Best card of all time?
Best card of all time.
Best card of all time. Man, I think after the card, I think we'd be probably a little more comfortable saying that. I think these guys are going to deliver, like I said. Going back to the price of the pay-per-view, you see it here. $25.99. Oh, man. I might buy this twice, Chris. Oh, this is exciting. $25.99 in the US. Let's go.
Yeah, no, again, we paid what 3 times, 4 times for lesser fights, man. Again, if Turkey were to retire tomorrow, this one would go down, Gio, as the greatest card of all time. Again, we think of the Dunking days. We see 4 or 5 really good fights, and yeah, man, we haven't had a card like this in a long time. So yeah, man, even though they're billing it, and some people might be like, this is just the the feeling of the moment. I think if Turkey were to go to a different planet tomorrow, we would miss this card, and this would be the greatest card of the last 30 years for sure.
All right, is that all we got? Let's go to some last comments here by the live chat. Jersey says, I just had a vision, Bivol getting dropped and fight stopped. Man, that's how I see it ending, man. It's going to be tough, though. Bivol's confidence says MAW. First to go the distance with Arthur. He has enough respectable power. He does. To make Arthur hesitant at times. All right, what else are people saying? Arthur definitely has power to close opponent. To close opponent. If his knee is better, it'll be easier for him to do that this time. Big Bro says, Turkey making PPV great again. Man, it's been a long time since his pay-per-views have sold anything, man, unless your name is Canelo. But I think this one's going to do great numbers. $26. Man, I'm excited for this.
And Gio, you said, let me get this right. You said, did you say TKO by Beterbiev or decision?
KO. He's getting a stoppage.
Hey, he says stoppage. Okay. Man, this one's going to be crazy. Again, when I think of a competitive fight of like 2 guys that were undefeated, I think of your boy Andre Ward versus Kovalev. And obviously we got that rematch and it wasn't close. I don't see it happening, this time. But can it happen? Yeah, of course. This is boxing. Again, Beterbiev has the power. You don't get to 100% knockout ratio, for nothing. So again, he's got that in him. And again, if he does get the knockout, it just shows that he was really not 100%, in that first fight. But yeah, man, I'm excited for this one. I got a little bias with Bivol, but I did see him winning that first fight, and I see him kind of separating himself this second fight. And if he gets a knockout, Gio, if he busts Tyson Fury, obviously we know that Tyson Fury wasn't known for his knockout power when he fought Deontay Wilder. If he does something like that, oh my goodness, man, we're gonna get a trilogy. So I'm excited for that, man.
Yeah, so yeah, that's that, man. Mega card. I just pulled up this meme. Look at Terrence Lamar right there at the Super Bowl. Shout out to Terrence Lamar.
Why do you hate on Terrence so much? What did he do to you?
He did absolutely nothing. He's never entertained me before. That's what I'm hating. Nigga, Terrence Lamar. What, Chris? What? We're not bringing up Terrence Crawford, man. We almost went the whole show. I mentioned him one time. All right. I think that's more than enough. But yeah, that's all I got, man. Let's get out of here. An hour and a half. Chris will be there at the fight, so we'll get some behind the scenes action live from Saudi Arabia. So yeah, tune in. We'll be uploading videos. Go vote if you haven't. Look, Beterbiev still in the lead, 58-42. I don't like how wide a lot of these fights are. I don't like how wide a lot of times the YouTube fan base votes. But look, Virgil 72, Madrimov 28. Come on, man. That should be 50-50. But we'll see. We'll see Saturday, man. Great day of boxing. We're here for it. Biggest week in boxing. Hey, I'm predicting that there's going to be a bigger week, but thus far, this is it right here.
And Gio, before we get out of here, remind the chat of your picks before you go, and then tell me which is the one that you're most nervous about.
So I'm going Shakur KO. Definitely nervous about that one. We know he doesn't have power. Smith decision. Zhilei Zong KO. Shiraz KO. Virgil decision. Triple D KO. And Beterbiev KO. I'm more nervous about the Shiraz one. I'm not going to lie.
All right. All right, I'm going to go down with mine. Obviously, we kept some of the same ones. I got Shakur Stevenson, TKO. Not worried about that. You should do that. Callum Smith versus decision. I got that in there. I got Caballero by decision. I think that one's the one that gets me the most nervous. Don could show off and show that Caballero is too inexperienced. Virgil Ortiz, Madrimov, I got that split. I think there's some stuff that's gonna happen, but it's easy to go with Virgil. But I got that as a split draw. Adames versus Shiraz, I got Adames by knockout. I see that happening. I think he's gonna expose Shiraz. Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker. That one makes me a little nervous just because Joseph can box and he could lull this fight. So I got Daniel Dubois by knockout. And then finally, of course, Bivol by decision. That one makes me a little nervous just because we know that Beterbiev is the good. So let's go.
Oh, man. Exciting day of boxing. As I said, we'll be back next week to break it all down. Let me see what's going on in the chat. I see a lot of laughing faces there. I just had my super chat got blocked over what? Oh, this guy, man. This guy's getting blocked out here. They don't like when we keep it too real out here. I'll be honest, Jersey. The powers that be messing with us sometimes, but hey, you know, it's all good. It's all good. What else do we have here? VMC says big bro, some fire emojis. Man, thank you guys for keeping the chat lit. As I said, we're going to get out of here. Next week we'll be back Wednesday, Chris, or are we back next Wednesday?
We should be back Wednesday of next week. But yeah, man, I'm excited to be out there, Gio. I know there's going to be some faces out there. They're saying that Benavides is going to be out there. Of course, a lot of the UK fighters will be out there. It's a little bit closer for them than it is for us in the States. I have an 18-hour flight and then 6 hours in Amsterdam. So leaving tomorrow, will not arrive till Friday night. So I'm just there for the fights, Gio. Ain't sightseeing, ain't taking pictures of anything but boxing. That's all we're going to be at. Again, I'm excited to see all these fights. Disappointed that Schofield didn't materialize into a fight. I would have loved to have seen that fight, but hey, we move on. We have 6 great fights. And again, Gio, I know you predicted it a couple weeks ago, for our end of the year prediction. You said this is not going to be the last great fight card that we have this year. I'm hoping you're right. I'll go talk to Turkey. I'll be like, hey, my boy Gio said you're going to have another one, man. Like, what's going on? Don't make us look bad. So I'm excited to see what happens, not just this weekend, but the rest of the calendar year.
All right. Shout out to Iceman checking in. Benavides better not get caught drinking or doing some of that pure out there, he says. Might not make it back, says Big Bro. Oh, man. Keep him away from that stuff. Keep him away. Yeah, he's going to be there. Iceman, salute. Shout out to you. What's up, Chris? Last comment here before we get out of here.
Hey, I'm not trying to break any rules out there. You're trying to go there, get the fights, and come back safe and sound. So that's the goal. Again, guys, be on the lookout for those videos. We're gonna try to get some good shots out there. You know, maybe some knockdowns, maybe some knockouts. But man, just just keep your eyes on the chat and keep your eyes on the channel when we drop those.
Yeah, man, all the celebs are gonna be out there. You know it, but all right.
Does Canelo make it out?
Canelo, nah, he's too important, man. Well, you never know. Turkey might throw him some cheese to make it out there. But yeah, that's that. Next Wednesday we'll be back. Thanks for keeping the chat lit. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Follow us against ropes, against ropes, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, anything but TikTok. Anything but TikTok. All right. Shout out to all you guys who will be checking this out on the replay as well. And that's it. We out. Salute. Thanks, fellas.
Let's go, Dawson.
Let's go, mates. Every baby has a daddy. Let's go, Triple D. Don't let us down.
Let's go, Z-Lay.
Bang, bang. No Diddy.
Hola amigos, soy Juan Francisco AtR. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Échenle muchas ganas, un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Against the Ropes. Huge shout out to Against the Ropes. Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time out y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.